Hey guys, I'm Saurav. Welcome to my channel. Last week, I uploaded a cinematic video on photography and you people showed an amazing response. Thank you for that. If you haven't watched that video, I would highly recommend you to watch it. Today in this video, I'm going to cover the complete process of shooting a cinematic video irrespective of the camera gear you use. These are the topics that I will be covering in this video. It's going to be a very fun video. You people are going to learn a lot of things. So without wasting any time, let's get started. Before we talk about shooting a cinematic video, let us quickly understand what exactly a cinematic video is. A cinematic video is a video that helps to convey the story, the emotion, the idea that you have in your mind to the audience with the help of pleasing visuals. Everything I will be covering today in this video will help you to do that. Before even starting to shoot the video, you should be very clear about the idea and the overall theme of the video. For this one, the theme was photography and nature, and that's how we chose our locations. The very first thing you will notice is the aspect ratio of the video is 2:1. This particular video is in 16:9. Compared to 16:9, 2:1 is a widescreen aspect ratio, and the look of the 2:1 gives that cinematic look. Our cameras don't allow us to shoot in 2:1. So I shot all the videos in 16:9 and later imported them into a project of a 2:1 aspect ratio. One thing to remember while filming is to keep a bit of space in the upper and the bottom part of the frame, because when you convert a 16:9 into a 2:1 video, those things are going to get cropped and you don't want any important subject to get cropped, right? Using a 2:1 ratio is not necessary, but as I said before, it helps to get that cinematic look. Talking about camera gear, we shot this video completely on the Nikon Z6. The lenses that were used was the Nikon 24mm 1.8, the 70-200 2.8, and for some shots I also used the Tamron 15-30mm f2.8. There were only a couple of drone shots for which I used the DJI Mavic 2 Pro. There will be people commenting that, Saurav, you have all this amazing gear and that's why you could shoot amazing videos. That's not the case. The important thing to remember about camera gear is understanding your camera gear. The camera body is only responsible for the video quality, but the overall look, the overall feel will be decided by the lenses you use. You can shoot both a tight and a wide shot with a wide and a zoom lens, but the look will differ. What matters here is the understanding of the focal length. Now, I have a separate video on focal length. If you want an in-depth understanding, watch that video. In short, a wide look is more immersive. With a tele lens, you get more compression. Now the question is, which look is better? The answer is, there is no answer for it. These are just different looks, and depending on what look you are going for, you have to choose your lenses. The next point is camera settings. I always like my video to look neutral and later color grade them in post. I have a separate color grading video. If you want to learn how to color grade videos, you should watch that video. My camera doesn't allow me to shoot log internally, so I shoot all the videos in flat picture profile. If your camera allows you to shoot in log picture profile, I would recommend to use a log picture profile because you get more flexibility in color grading. One tip I want to give you for color grading is, while color grading, make sure the color grading is consistent throughout the videos. If there are two clips with different color grading, then it won't look consistent and it will be distracting. The next setting is the FPS. We use two different options. One is 24 FPS and two is 120 FPS. 24 FPS is a great option for cinematic looking videos. The look and feel of 24 FPS is appropriate for a cinematic look. 120 FPS on the other hand is a slow motion video. We used 120 FPS in the action shots where we were sure that we were going to slow it down later in post-processing. Now, if your camera doesn't allow you to shoot in 120 FPS, that's completely fine. Shoot in the highest FPS possible and then you can later slow it down a bit in post. Higher the FPS, more is the flexibility you get to slow it down. I did not slow all the footages completely, but having the flexibility with the 120 FPS is a good option. One thing to keep in mind, I always say this, don't shoot all the videos in slow motion. Unless and until it is necessary to slow down an action, don't shoot in slow motion because your videos will look boring. If you focus on this video contains everything. You have normal paced videos, you have slow motion videos, you also have some time lapses, which is actually the exact opposite of slow motion. When you combine all these different looking footages, the video looks much more dynamic and interesting. Speaking of making the videos look more dynamic and interesting, the next point is camera movements. But before we talk about camera movements, it's time to thank the sponsors of the video, and that is Skillshare. There's a bonus surprise for some of you people, just wait for a minute. Now, the reason I love to collaborate with Skillshare is I personally use Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with a lot of courses. I am a self-taught photographer and a videographer, and Skillshare have been very useful because of their amazing courses. Talking about videography, I was a complete beginner. I took this course by Dale McManus, which covers a lot of things about videography and filmmaking in depth. It was very helpful for me, and I'm sure it will be helpful for you people too, because you can not only learn about photography and videography, they have a lot of courses about designing, animation, music, a lot of stuff. I would definitely recommend you to check their website. The surprise for you people is for the first 1,000 people that click in the link in the description below get 2 months of free Skillshare subscription. If you take a yearly subscription, monthly you're paying less than $10, that is less than 800 Indian rupees. And I have personally joined some courses. I can tell you it's totally worth it. So continuing with camera movements, there were some stable shots where the camera was attached to the tripod, but to make the shots more interesting, we also incorporated some camera movements. Now, behind every movement, there should be a proper intention. I will explain what I mean. For some shots, we did use a gimbal, and a gimbal is a great tool to get those smooth moving shots, but sometimes using a gimbal can be difficult, so we preferred shooting handheld. Shooting handheld is actually easier when you want those different angles and you want to shoot low to the ground. And the raw feel of the handheld video actually sometimes looks better. As I said before, behind every camera movement, there should be a proper intention. In this particular shot, I'm using a movement known as dolly out, where the camera is moving away. And as the camera is moving away, you're seeing more of the location. Now the reason the movement looks so smooth is we actually shot it with a drone. Drone can be a great option for shooting such smooth slider-like shots. Now while filming, we knew what shots we were going to place one after the other in editing, and that's why we made sure the movement is consistent. If the movement is not consistent, the video will again look distracting. And as I said, if you're more clear about what you want to shoot, it will not only help you in shooting but also the editing process. One more thing I like to use to make the videos look much more cinematic is adding depth. Now there are a lot of ways to add depth. The first one is to use a wider aperture. A wider aperture will make sure that your subject is separated from the background, and it will add depth to your videos. Another way to add depth in your videos is to add a foreground element. Just by simply adding a foreground element, you can convert a boring shot into an interesting shot. As you can see in this example, as I moved from left to right, I pulled focus from the leaves that were in the foreground to the waterfall that was in the background. Just with the simple addition of the foreground and the focus pulling, the shot looks much more interesting. The next point is framing and composition. Now, as I said, we are shooting cinematic videos to convey a story, and a good framing and good composition will help the viewer to understand the story in a better manner because the attention goes to the main subject. While deciding the framing and composition for the videos, I don't overcomplicate it. I use the same composition guidelines that I use for photography. Like for example, in this video, you can see I used leading lines. In this video, I have used rule of thirds. In this video, I have used symmetry because I have that reflection. So the same guidelines that we follow for photography is also applicable for videography as well. Make sure you keep the framing and composition simple and the attention goes to the main subject and you're good to go. When you combine good composition, camera movements and you add some depth in your videos already look much more cinematic. But a cinematic video is not just about video, it's also about the audio. A cinematic video is a complete experience. You're not only watching the video, you're also listening to the audio as well. The sound of the wind, moving leaves, the water drops and the flowing water makes me feel, I just can't describe it in words. That feeling is very special. When I'm close to nature, when I am taking photos, I forget all my problems and I realize life's going to be fine. And that's why photography is so special to me. For this video, there are 3 audio components: the voiceover, the music, and the SFX. Your video might or might not have the voiceover, but it will definitely have some kind of audio or music, right? A lot of people underestimate the importance of good quality audio, but in reality, audio is as important as video if you want an overall nice experience, as I said before. While choosing the music for your videos, it's very important to understand the mood of the video. If it's a fast-paced video, you would choose a fast-paced music. If it's a silent video, you would choose a silent music. Just by changing the music, the overall feel of the video changes completely. The important part I want to focus today is SFX. SFX is basically sound effects. Now, if you see this video has a lot of sound effects. Just see this video with and without sound effects first. You can record SFX separately or you can download them and use it in your projects. For this video, I have a forest ambient sound that is played throughout the video that sets the whole ambience. And then I have different sound effects for the flowing water, for the wind, for the water drops. And as you can see, the timing of the water drop also matches the audio. When you pay attention to these small details, the overall experience gets much better. One tip I want to give about sound effects is mute the music and then place your sound effects. Then unmute the music and then adjust the levels of your sound effects. For some sound effects, I also change the intensity of the volume. For example, in this shot, when you can see the waterfall, the volume of the sound effect is higher. But when the frame changes, the volume is lowered down. Now the reason I did not completely remove the sound effect because the other frame was also shot in the same location. So technically you should be able to listen a bit of that sound effect. Now this is a bit of work, this needs a bit of understanding and also some time, but I think it's totally worth it. All the points that I've explained in today's video will help you to shoot cinematic videos with the camera gear you have. That's it from this video guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if the video helped you, press the like button. If you're new to the channel, for more content, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.